So I watched that movie Civil War. Overall, I did enjoy this movie, but I didn't love it. So let me start with the positives. I think the cast is great in this. I think Kirsten Dunst gives a great performance in this, and I think the young actress who played kind of like the young photographer who's a big fan of Kirsten Dunst's character. I think gives a great performance in this too. Like I said, the cast is great in this when it comes to the acting performances. I think this movie is very well shot. The cinematography is great. There's some great tension in the movie. There's like a scene with two soldiers, which I think is just a really great tense scene, and probably like the my favorite scene in the movie when it comes to like how much tension is in that scene. Like I said, it's a very well shot movie. Cinematography looks great in it. There's a lot of there is some like scenes in this movie where it does like have some haunted images in this movie, and like I said, it has a lot of great tension in this movie. Then now the miss aspect for me, one misaspect I kind of have about this movie is that I think Kristen Dunst gives a great performance, like I said, but I did feel like for the first 30 minutes, I know this was the point of her character, that she was I don't like she was very close off her character, which I understand that's the point is that she's become numb to this when it comes to her as a war journalist photographer. She's seen so much that she's kind of like for the first 30 minutes she's just kind of numb to everything. And I understand that was the point of a character, but I did have an issue just really connecting with her character. Like I felt like when it got to the stadium scene, that's where I felt like I was starting to get invested in her character. But for the first 30 minutes, I did find myself kind of at a distance with her character. Like I didn't hate her character, but I just didn't feel like I was connecting with her character for the first 30 minutes. So again, I understand that's the point of the her story arc, but I did find myself just having like kind of like a cold reaction to a character for the first 30 minutes, where I just didn't find myself fully connecting with her character. Her character did grow on me throughout the movie, like I said. The the young actress who plays the young photographer, her character was fine. She makes some stupid decisions later on in the movie, especially one decision later on in a scene where Kirsten Dunst, her, and two other characters are in a car to drive in, and these two other people. There's a car behind them. They drive up, and they're friends with one of the Kirsten Dunst cruise characters, and she like goes into he goes into their car when they're driving with the car side by side. He goes into their car through the window, and then she does the same thing. And that to me was just to me it made me really kind of not like her character. She just makes some stupid choices later on that drive me nuts. And I understand like she's a young and experienced photographer, but there's just some stupid choices with her character later on that kind of did make me just not like her character all that much. Like it just kind of bugged me. So overall, like I thought her character was fine, but I'll admit I didn't feel really all that invested in her character. Like I didn't hate her character at the beginning of the movie, but later on she makes some stupid choices. And there's some choices later on where she just like she's trying to get real close in to get the shot, and it just like again, it's just some decisions that her character makes that kind of drove me nuts. And let me say this: I'm not too familiar with the job of a photographer. I don't know how close they're supposed to get, like a war journalist photographer, when it comes to getting the shots. If they have to be that close when it comes to the danger, but there'll be times where she gets so close to the danger that it kind of got on my nerves. Again, I'm not too familiar with the job, so I don't know how accurate that is. But there was just times where okay, it annoyed me a little bit. And the ending of the movie, I wasn't a fan of. I did feel unsatisfied at the end of the movie. And some of it has to do with the biggest issue I have with this movie, but overall, I just didn't really like the way the story arc ends for the characters with Kirsten Dunst's character. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to spoil something right now, so stop the video now. But Kirsten Dunst's character dies at the end of the movie because of a stupid, because the young girl who's like the young photographer, Kirsten Dunst, like the young photographer, gets real close to it, trying to take a shot when they're like, her and the soldiers are going to president's into the White House and trying to find a president. She gets real close, and Kirsten Dunst gets in front of her to take a shot. And I wasn't a fan of just like the ending of the story arc for these characters. I just felt very unsatisfied at the end of the movie. Now, the biggest issue I have with this movie, I've seen reviews that love the fact the director did this in this movie, and I've seen other reviewers hate the fact the director did this. And I'm on a side where this did have a big issue with the movie for me. Is that I understand this movie is more about the cautionary tale, about how people, you have people fighting each other for senseless reasons, and how this is really from the point of view of the war journalist photographers when it comes to Kirsten Dunst's character. I get all that. But this movie leaves things so ambiguous, and I don't have a problem in movies if you want to leave some stuff unanswered. But they leave so many things unanswered in this movie. I understand the director didn't want to pick a side, but they leave so many things unanswered in this movie where I was just like they don't give you answers to why this civil war started, who's fighting who, why are some of these soldiers fighting each other. Even like there's a scene where one of the soldiers, where the sniper, and it was like a sniper across the field in a house, and Christian Dust's crew is outside of the van, and they hear gunshots going off. And I remember one of them asked the sniper dude who's on the ground with the other guy, he's trying to get the sniper in the house. Like something about like like something like what are you doing here, or what's the orders or something like that. And the soldiers don't even sound like they know who's what side, like what side of fighting on, or something like that. I just remember like they left things so ambiguous in this movie about who's fighting who and why this war started and why these soldiers are following these orders, why these soldiers are fighting each other. Like you see this, like the tense scene that I really love. You see the two of these soldiers when they ask them like Kirsten Dunst's crew like what kind of American are you? And they like see them like see some bodies over there in the ground, and it's just like they leave things so like so like ambiguous and open when it comes to like not answering anything in this movie, that it really made it hard for me to to really connect with the story. Because like I can understand maybe leaving just like maybe two or one things ambiguous, but I felt like they left things way too ambiguous in this movie. Like I needed way more information in this movie, and I understand I understand people would say, well, that's not the point of the movie. That this is more of a this is the point of view. This is coming from the point of view of the war journalist photographers, and more of a cautionary tale about how, like you have people fighting each other for senseless reasons, and it's a more of about the cautionary tale of what could happen when it comes to war, how we fight each other for senseless reasons. I get all that, but it's just like I needed a bit more information in this movie to really get invested in the story. And another negative thing with this movie for me, and I forgot to mention this, is that there are some weird music choices in this movie. Like there was I remember there was like one of the music scenes just pulled me out of the movie, because this is a movie that has a very tense story and it's a very serious movie with this like civil war going on in the background that you don't know too much information about. But this is like one of the scenes with this song choice. I was just like, this does not fit the movie. And that's how I felt about the music choices in this movie. They just felt very like they didn't fit the movie for me personally. And there was one in the movie that just really pulled me out. So there was just some weird music choices in this movie when it comes to the tone of this movie and the story it's telling. So that was another negative. So overall, I did enjoy this movie. Like I said, there's some haunting images in this movie. It has some really great tension in the movie. Like I said, the scene with the two soldiers where they ask them what kind of American you are. I think that's one of the best scenes when it comes to like a scene in a movie when it comes to tension. And I did grow to love Kirsten Dunst's character that like as the movie went along. Like I said, her character for the first 30 minutes, I was kind of like her character was fine for the first 30 minutes. I just felt like I was at a distance with her character. But when we got to the stadium scene, I did really grow attached to her character later on as the movie went along. But I just personally needed more from the story when it comes to answers. And like I said, some really weird music choices. The young actress, who I think does a great job, but her character, the young photographer, just makes some stupid choices that kind of annoyed me. So overall, it's a movie that I like. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's not a movie I would put on my list of favorite movies this year, and I would say check it out though. Like I said, it's I enjoyed the movie enough to be like, this is a movie you should check out. It's not fantastic in my opinion. No, it's not gonna be in like a top of my list of the year at the end of the year. But it's a movie worth checking out. So that's my thoughts on Civil War. Until next time, movie fans.